Okay, this video is why are Hispanics so weak? And what I mean by weak is, you look at Hispanics in the United States, okay? They're 20% of the population, but you almost never see them in commercials. You almost never see them in positions of power. And I can tell you, I have a lot of experience with Hispanic organizations. Most of them are run by lightweights with Hispanic names, okay? Individually, I get along great with other Hispanics. I'm half Puerto Rican. My mother's an off-the-boat Puerto Rican, and I'm half Irish. My father's an off-the-boat Irish guy. Okay, and individually, I get along great with other Hispanic people. Okay, once in a while, Cubans are a little stuck up, but if they give me any shit, I can put them in their place pretty fast. Okay, but with Hispanic groups, I tend to not get along with them that well. They tend to be very petty about the control of a group. They only want the person in charge to always have a Hispanic last name. They don't want somebody with a gringo last name. Okay, and they even are very jealous. Like when I was in med school, I was in the Hispanic Medical Student Society, La Rama, okay, and they liked me to be in the group, but when I wrote a medical Spanish book, none of them would help me. The prominent people in the group, the attending physicians and attending teachers and stuff, the PhDs, not a single one of them would help me, and I was kind of shocked and disappointed by that. Then I won a bunch of academic awards. First in my class award, the Lang Medical Book Award. I won the Hispanic, I won the Minority Award. They were jealous of me and resentful even, and you know, I was kind of shocked by it. I'm like, why wouldn't you be happy for me? You know, and they weren't, which kind of surprised me. And I mean, when I say they weren't, I meant the leadership wasn't. The individual Hispanic medical students, they loved me to teach them and tutor them and help them, okay? So what else did I notice? That they wouldn't let me come back. You know, they have a Hispanic Center for Excellence. Whenever you hear somebody say excellence, you know it means crap, okay? Because I offered to come back and give a lecture on study skills. You know, I was first in my class, 99% board scores. I said, why don't you have me give a lecture? I'll teach them study skills. I'll teach them my tricks, my memory tricks and stuff. They didn't want me to. It was weird. And I think the reason is the leadership of the Hispanic organization, they sort of thrive on mediocrity. They're always trying to say, well, our students aren't doing well. Give us more money. I'm like, well, why don't you bring me in? I'll teach them and they're going to do well. But they wouldn't do that. You know, they would have all these people come back who were on academic probation, really lousy students, to have them lecture to the students, but they wouldn't have me come back. I'm probably the best Hispanic student doctor in the whole world, the best, smartest one, okay? Why wouldn't you have me come back? And I know it's why, because I have a gringo name and they're kind of offended by me that I'm kind of confident and arrogant in a sense rather than sheepish, gonna kiss their butt. But that's why they're weak, because all these Hispanic groups, they don't want the most talented people. They want somebody who's controllable with a last Hispanic name. And the other thing is I offered to lecture, I've written letters over the many years to about 100 different Hispanic groups for, you know, helping students or patients or something. Not a single one ever would have me speak. And I think it's because they're just trying to get money. They can appeal to some organization for funding, saying, look, we got all these poor students that aren't doing well. We got all these poor patients that are sick. Will you please donate us money? But they don't actually care about helping them. They just want to get their money. I say that based on a lot of experience. And I think that's why, you know, other ethnic groups, if they got somebody who's their ethnicity who just doesn't have the same last name as them, they're fine with that, okay? They don't care. But with Hispanics, it's not like that. You got to have the name if you're going to be allowed to rise in any of their groups or something. And even, you know, largely to get invited. I was kind of shocked, but I'm doing you a favor. You know, I kind of wanted to teach my study skills and try them out with different groups and see what would happen, but they weren't buying it. And that's why I think they're so weak in society. You know, people think of Hispanics, they tend to think of them as being not as educated. You think of a Puerto Rican, you think of an obnoxious person beeping their horn, you know, on Flag Day, okay? You think of a Mexican as, you know, waving their flag, you know, on Cinco de Mayo or something. And then, you know, in the scholarship position, there are some academic scholars that are very good. There's some good Hispanic researchers. But all I'm saying is there's no support system. None whatsoever. You know, I've never had support whatsoever from any Hispanic society. Nor have any of them ever welcomed me at all. So it's kind of like, well, they can kiss my ass. And that's why they're weak and they're stupid and they don't have much power. I'd be happy to work with one of them and help them. I wish they would invite me. Anyways, that's why Hispanics are so weak in this country.